Ladies and gentlemen, let's be very clear. We, as the proposition, are not arguing for the government not helping the unemployed. We are instead arguing for the means by which we help these people. And we say giving money tends to create a counterproductive effect. Help should instead be provided in the form of skills training and job matching, such as we see now in the status quo with the WDA or Workforce Development Agency. And these are far more effective long-term solutions which we propose. So having clarified that, I'll now go on to my two main points of contention with the opposition for today. Firstly, the fallacy of the opposition's short-term, long-term scheme, and secondly, that on the nature of potential immigrants who we want to invite to our nation. On to my first point of contention. Now, ladies and gentlemen, studies have shown that the average time needed for a retrenched worker to find re-employment in Singapore is 2 weeks or 8 months. 2 months or 8 weeks, pardon. As my other speaker has already pointed out, retrenchment benefits usually provide for 1 month's salary for the worker. And most companies even provide more than this. And this will be more than enough.
Point, sir.
No, thank you, sir. To tide the retrenched over the period where they will be finding work. And so, contrary to what the oppositions believe, they will not starve to death. Far from that, in fact. And we see that when we give money to people who are unemployed, you kickstart the psyche that they can hold out for better job opportunities, even though they have already been offered other probably lower paying jobs. Thank you, sir. And we see that they will not be willing to take part in the skills retraining that the opposition is proposing. And we have seen precedents of this in France, where for the longest time their welfare system has provided for every need of the unemployed. And the unemployed workers do not actively go out to participate in the skills retraining and job matching programs.
Sir.
No, thank you, sir. And because of this, we see that the average unemployment period for a retrenched French person is actually 1 year. And we cannot have this situation mirrored in Singapore. And now on to my second point on that of the nature of potential immigrants who we want to invite. As our Prime Minister has previously stated, we do not want...
This, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, all the benefits that you have talked about, including those of people spending short periods of time unemployed, only came about because our policy of financial assistance, which has no employment as a prerequisite, is currently in place in Singapore.
Sir, we see that indeed that the motivation for the unemployed to go for skills retraining and job matching is indeed because they cannot rely on this buffer of government financial aid, and therefore in our proposal, indeed these people will be more willing to take an active part in these job matching programs. And so, ladies and gentlemen, as our Prime Minister has previously said, we do not want Singaporeans who are quitters, who are fair-weathered citizens, who leave every time we hit a bust period. Instead, we want to invite potential immigrants who come to Singapore on the basis that they love our country and want to contribute to our nation. And these are the kind of foreign nationals whom we want. And therefore, if we provide financial aid, this will invite potential foreign immigrants who are just here solely for the purpose for financial gain. And that is completely contrary to what we want as a society. And now on to my substantive for today. Thank you, sir. On the unique lack of involuntary unemployment in Singapore. Now, is there really a lack of job opportunities for the average worker? We will show you how, though we are in an economic depression, the unemployed in Singapore are typically voluntarily unemployed. They choose to be voluntarily unemployed either due to their unwillingness to take on job opportunities or in being reluctant to take a pay cut. Now, we see that the influx of foreign workers into our society every single day proves that there are so many job opportunities for Singaporeans to take up, provided they are flexible, provided they have the skills to do so. And our proposal gives them the skills and affords them the ability to be flexible and to be able to create a dynamic workforce. And therefore, ladies and gentlemen, please go with the proposition.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Today, as the third speaker of the opposition team, I shall start off with a very simple pointing out of the flaws that are actually present in today's proposition's case. Now, today, I have two main areas of contention to actually bring up. Firstly, the nature of financial assistance, and secondly, on the immigrants that are actually coming to Singapore. Now, first and foremost, today, the proposition has come to us and has told us that now financial assistance is for people to actually upgrade themselves. It's for people to upgrade such that they can help out with the economy. But how? How are we going to help out with the economy if we can upgrade ourselves but we do not have the money to even feed ourselves? We do not have the money to actually buy food, feed our families, feed ourselves. In that case, if we cannot even feed ourselves, how are we supposed to upgrade ourselves such that we can provide a better way to actually serve our economy? Now, ladies and gentlemen, today the proposition has put so much focus on the word upgrading that they actually forgotten about the word survival. The plain word survival is actually the most important, the crux of today's debate. For without survival, no one is actually going to be able to achieve anything at all. Now, ladies and gentlemen, let's think about this today. Now, in today's world, a lot of people are employed by companies, big companies like all the companies out there in Singapore, but we still have to consider about those who do not and are not and will not be employed.
Point, sir.
By, yes, sir.
Sir, have you ignored completely what we have told you, that the minimum retrenchment benefit is 1 month's pay, which will be more than enough for them to survive?
I was just getting about that. You don't need to be so rushed. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have to think that not everyone in today's world actually work in big scale companies. Me, myself, my father works as a barber. He does not get 1 month advance pay if he gets retrenched. There are a lot of other people out there that cannot get such retrenchment benefits if they do not work in companies, and they make up a great proportion of Singapore. Now, for those people, if they do not get these retrenchment benefits, they can't get any money at all to actually be able to help out their family. And if they do not get such money from the government, nobody can give them. How are we going to expect them to survive? Now, secondly, to the point of immigrants. Now, ladies and gentlemen, today the proposition has told us that immigrants that come to Singapore must love our country. They must serve our country. But however, ladies and gentlemen, rainy days occur to everyone, even immigrants that love our country. Now, if the immigrants that love our country will come to Singapore and actually experience an unfortunate event of being actually retrenched just because he made a mistake by offending his boss, does it mean that we are actually going to let our immigrant workers who actually love the country, willing to serve the country and bring our country to greater heights, be sent back to their country just because he offended his boss? Now, ladies and gentlemen, we must think that in this world, a lot of accidents might happen, and we must provide actually a second possible net, a safety
Point,
net.
Sir.
No, thank you, sir. A safety net to actually provided to allow these people to actually have the incentive to come over to Singapore to work. Now, moving on to my case, ladies and gentlemen. Now, today, as the opposition representing charity organizations, I'll be talking about two main points, mainly how charity organizations are unstable because of how, number one, the publicity they receive actually is actually a great factor affecting the amount of donations they receive, and number two, on how the charities are actually a viable choice charity organizations, in short, are not there to help us all the time. Now, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, publicity is one factor affecting donations for, as we all know, the National Kidney Foundation, NKF, actually succeeded getting a lot of donations just because they actually have a lot of charity shows that they televise. Now, in that case, however, let's think about the small charities that are out there. They don't get publicity, they don't get donations. That will actually cause a wrong proportion of funds allocated to the different organizations. For those who get the most money are not those who need the most. They are those who are most popular. Now, moreover, at the same time, it's due to publicity of the NKF Chief Executive Officer, T.T. Durai, the incidents that caused a massive public outlash and a fallout of donors to charity.
Point, sir.
No, thank you, sir. That actually causes a drop of growth of total income of charity organization to around negative 19%, ladies and gentlemen. They are getting a growth of income of negative 19%. Now, ladies and gentlemen, moreover, looking at the viability of the charity organizations, we must first think that charity organizations are plenty out there in Singapore. Now, if you can't even go out there and get work, how are you supposed to go out there and find and sieve out through the thousands of charity organizations out there, such that you find one specific charity organization that you need? Moreover, even if they are able to find these charity organizations, it is not always that they are able to get help. Now, a recent quote by the chairman of Tai Hwa Kuat Foundation actually shows that the amount of donations that have been received has dropped by 21.6% ever since the NKF incident, and the applicants that are registered each year have more than around half of them that are actually rejected. Now, ladies and gentlemen, even if we were to overcome that, now we must also take into account the point of pride. Singaporeans love pride. Now, there are many people out there who refuse to actually go to charity organizations, for they feel that that's actually a disgraceful thing to do, and if they do not go to a charity organization for help, there is no one there to help them. Therefore, ladies and gentlemen, what have I actually shown you today? Today, what actually is the most important word for the debate is survival. And in order for these people to survive, they actually need the government's help to provide help, as they are number one, unemployed, and they cannot earn money just by upgrading their skills. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are not just giving fish to all those who are unemployed. We are teaching them how to get the fish. Thank you.